right, let's keep going with converting between metric and imperial or English units of length. And so here we're asked to convert 8 inches to centimeters. So we have 8 inches. I'm going to write that over 1. And we want to convert it to centimeters. So we're going to want to multiply by a conversion factor that will have our inches on the bottom and centimeters on the top so that our inches will cancel out. And if we look at our formula sheet, we're looking for 1 inch equals some amount of centimeters. And you'll find it at the top row there of your right-hand column. It says 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters. That allows us to cancel out our inches. And so we get 8 times 2.54, which gives me 20.32 centimeters. Okay, so really it's about making it over 1 and then figuring out the conversion factor that's going to allow you to make that appropriate cancellation. The next 3 are more practice with this. So if you're feeling comfortable, go ahead and pause this video and see if you can get those next 3. Okay, let's do B now. So we have 90 kilometers and we're trying to go to miles. So I'm going to write that over 1. And we're going to want a conversion factor with kilometers on the bottom, miles on the top. And so it's usually easiest if we find the conversion factor where the 1 is on the bottom. So we're looking for 1 kilometer equals so many miles. And you'll see we get 1 kilometer equals 0.62 miles. So that allows us to cancel out our kilometers. And we're left with 90 times 0.62 gives me 55.8. Don't forget your units. We have miles here. So 55.8 miles. Now, just to convince you, I said it's easier if the 1 is on the bottom. I just want to show you that's not actually true. You don't have to do it that way. So if I wanted, I could have used the conversion factor here, where I have 1 mile equals how many kilometers? 1 mile equals 1.6 kilometers. So if I do it this way, remember when we multiply fractions, we do top times top over bottom times bottom. My kilometers will cancel. I'm going to be left with 90 over 1.6. And what does that give me? 90 divided by 1.6. So I get 56.25 miles, which is very close to the answer of 55.8 miles we got the other way. These two would both be marked correct on a test. They're close. The reason they're a little bit off is because our conversion factors aren't completely exact. We said 1 kilometer equals 0.62 miles, but really it's 0.625473. I guess it would be something that rounded down, 0.624753. And so they're not completely exact, which is why our answers vary a little bit. But both of these methods are perfectly fine. If you prefer to keep the 1 in the denominator, that's great. But just note, you don't actually need to. Either way will work. As long as you're canceling out your appropriate units, you're all good. All right, let's do the next one. So we've got 12 kilograms and we're going to pounds. So 12 kilograms. We're going to make that over 1. We want a conversion factor here then where our kilograms will cancel and we'll be left with pounds. So we want kilograms on the bottom. So let's look at our sheet. This isn't length, is it? Now we've branched into weight, but it's the same process. So we're looking for 1 kilogram equals so many pounds. And I find that on my conversion sheet to be in the left-hand column, we see 1 kilogram is 2.2 pounds. Okay, I can cancel out these kilograms and I'm left with pounds. And so my answer here, 12 times 2.2 gives me 26.4 pounds. Okay, and how about 14 feet to meters? Okay, so we're going to start with 14 feet. Let's make it over 1. We want a conversion factor here where feet is going to be in the bottom, so it cancels, and we're left with meters. So we're looking for 1 foot equals so many meters. And you'll find it in your formula sheet. You'll find that 1 foot equals 0.30 meters in that right-hand column, second down. Okay, so our feet cancel. And we've got 14 times 0.3, which gives me 4.2 meters. Okay, let's do some word problems. Okay, so we've got a roast, which weighs 3 kilograms, and maybe we know how long to cook it in pounds. So we need to convert this thing to pounds. So a roast weighs 3 kilograms. We want to know its weight in pounds. So we have 3 kilograms. Let's make that over 1. And we want to convert it to pounds. So we want our kilograms to cancel. So we'll put them in the bottom. And our pounds on top. LB is the symbol for pounds. I'm not sure why. Okay, and maybe what I'll do, go ahead and pause this video and see if you can figure this one out. Okay, and so if you look on your formula sheet, you'll see 1 kilogram is 2.2 pounds. So our kilograms will cancel here, and we'll have 3 times 2.2, which gives us 6.6 pounds. And it's a word problem, so we should answer in word. So its weight is 6.6 pounds. Okay, you can put the S on for plural, or just LB is fine too. I think technically LBS is correct, if I'm right. Okay, next one. We've got a jar of spices, which weighs 1.5 ounces. Okay, so now they've given us a fraction here. They want the weight in grams, and they'd like us to round to the nearest hundredth. Okay, so 1.5 ounces is what we have. And so the first thing we should do, let's convert that to a decimal. So 1.5, so we've got 1, and then we've got 1 over 2, which is 0.5. So this is 1.5 ounces. And now we can follow the same process. We're going to put that over 1. We want to convert to grams, so our ounces is going to go on the bottom, our grams on top. And so we're looking for a weight here. And if you look at your formula sheet, 1 ounce is 28.35 grams. So ounces cancel. And then we can calculate 1.5 times 28.35. And so let's not worry about rounding yet. I get 42.525. Now we want to round to the nearest hundredth. So that means we're going to look to the digit to the right and round up. So we get 42.53, and this answer is in grams. So its weight is 42.53 grams. Okay, next one. Go ahead and pause this video and try this next one yourself. Okay, so hopefully you've had a chance to do this next one. Let's do it together. So we've got a box of cereal. It's 375 grams. So I'm going to write that over 1. And then we want a conversion factor where grams is going to cancel. So grams is on the bottom, and we're trying to get to ounces. Okay, so if we look at our conversion sheet, then we're looking for 1 gram equals so many ounces. And I see there 1 gram is 0.04 ounces. Okay, so our grams are going to cancel. And then we've got 375 times 0.04, which gives me 15 ounces. So it weighs 15 ounces. Okay, this next one is a challenge because you won't find a conversion factor that allows you to do this in 1 step. We're going to need 2 steps here. Okay, so we have 85 feet per second. 85. Now, the per, that's just divided by, so I'm going to write it like this, per second. Okay, and we want to get to kilometers per hour. So we want our feet to be changed into kilometers, and we want our seconds to be changed into hours. So let's start by thinking about the feet to kilometers. We'll just kind of ignore the seconds on the bottom for now. So if we wanted to convert to kilometers, what would we do? Well, we want something where we would have feet on the bottom and ideally kilometers on the top. Now, if you look at your formula sheet, I don't think we're going to find that. We've got feet to meters, but we don't have feet to kilometers. So let's convert to meters first. So we've got, it says there that 1 foot is 0.30 meters. Okay. And if we did this calculation, we would be canceling out our feet. And right now, whatever we calculate, our answer would be in what units? Our answer would be in meters per second. Well, that's not quite what we want. We want our length to be in kilometers, not meters. So let's do another conversion. So we want to convert so that our meters cancel out. So meters is going to be on the bottom, and kilometers is going to be on the top. Now, there's a couple ways you can do this. If we want, it's a little more, I think it's a little easier to actually ignore my previous rule of keeping a 1 on the bottom, because I know that 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. So let's do that. So if we did this calculation at this point, now our meters would cancel. And whatever this calculation ends up equaling, what would our units be now? Our units here would be kilometers per second, because we're left with just kilometers on the top and just seconds on the bottom. Okay, so we're getting there. Now we're at kilometers per second, but we wanted kilometers per hour. Okay, so let's focus on the seconds now. Now we want a conversion factor that's going to cancel out those seconds and leave us with hours. Now, some of you might know how many seconds are in an hour, but it's not something we tend to do. So let's break it down a little bit. Let's break it first into minutes, because how many seconds are in a minute? 60. So our conversion factor here would be 60 seconds per 1 minute. And let's take a look right now. If we canceled out, now we can cancel out our seconds because I've got one of those on top and one of those on the bottom. So if we did this calculation now, we would be left with kilometers per minute. So we're almost there. We want to change those minutes into hours so that we're left with kilometers per hour. So finally, I'm going to multiply by a conversion factor that has minutes on top, right? Because my minutes is on the bottom right now. I want to cancel that. So I need minutes on top, and I want my hours on the bottom, because that's going to leave me with kilometers per hour. So now if I did that cancellation here, I would be left with kilometers per hour. Now I guess I have to do that conversion factor. We've got minutes per hour. How many minutes in an hour? We've got 60 minutes per 1 hour. Okay, so if we did this entire calculation, we would be left with kilometers per hour. So that's what we need to do. So we can go 85 times 0.3. Okay, now we need to divide by 1,000. So what I always do is I hit the equals button. So I get 25.5. Then I divide by 1,000, just so my calculator doesn't get confused about what to multiply and divide. So divided by 1,000, then I hit equals again, and I'm left with 0.0255. Then I can finish off the calculation. So times 60 times another 60, and that leaves me with 91.8 kilometers per hour. Now, this is a really tough problem, but what I'm hoping you'll see is how you can do multiple steps in order to cancel out the units you don't want and be left with the units that you do. So even if you don't have that initial conversion factor for feet to kilometers, you can take an intermediate step and first convert to meters, then convert to kilometers.